Okay, welcome back to the shop, guys. Today we're going to show you how to change the weather stripping around the liftgate glass on an '08 through 2012 Ford Escape. Now, why are we changing these and why is it so common that we need a video on this? Well, the reason being is the original weather stripping for all these years was not plush enough. Therefore, after a year or two of use, the glass being down on it just kind of compressed and it stayed. After a while, it started leaking water, and it leaks water and debris down to the liftgate shell here and rots the latch out. So I have a video on how to change the latch and how to access it if it doesn't open. Great, but a lot of people are asking, well, how do you change the weather stripping on there? And I thought it was a pretty simple job, but I looked over it once again, and there's some wiring involved here and stuff like that. So I'm going to walk you through it today and show you exactly how to change it. I'll have links to the latest and greatest weather stripping down below, and that one covers all model years. It's a very, very plush seal on there, and you'll see, compared to your old one you're taking out and the new one in your hand, why it's going to seal so well. It'll actually be hard to close the glass for a while. That's how plush the new seal is, and that really takes care of the concern. And these are the few basic tools you're going to need to get the job done. A fresh cup of coffee. We're going to need a trim tool of sorts like this. I use this one. It's from Husky. It's from Home Depot. It has a nice angle to it. Pop some of the trim off of there. And then you're going to need either one of these. A small flat blade screwdriver like that, a mini. Or what I use is this little pick like this. Has a nice angle to it and helps get those clips off of there for the liftgate struts on there. And the rags are optional if you're using something to hold the glass up while we're changing this out. Otherwise, you can use your head or you can use an assistant to hold the glass up safely and out of the way. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is open the liftgate glass up and out of the way. And many people are inclined to start taking off these liftgate struts, and we'll get all the stuff out of the way and everything. You don't want to deal with that. What you want to do is get everything off until the point where you're ready to take these off and support the glass. And then we'll just do it all at once real quick and get these back on there before we have an accident and break the glass or whatever. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to pull off the weather stripping on here. Now mine is new. This is a request video. So therefore my old and my new is going to look the same on here. This is to help people out that are out there and they're kind of dumbfounded by it. They put on a latch and they want to make sure that it doesn't rot out again. So you just simply grab it. And it's going to have that glue on it like that, and I'll show you some more of that. You can see it going along here, and kind of put it off to the side, okay? You see this right here? This is the top part of your trim panel for the interior trim panel for the liftgate. What you want to do is just pick it up, okay? And you can even go right there, and it'll hook onto the latch right here, and that's pretty much enough for us to continue taking this out of here. So just watch all this gooey stuff that actually holds it on. You don't want to get that all over yourself. And just continue going all the way around, working it off of there. Top even, everything. We'll get it off of there. And we're just going to let it hang after this. See, the whole thing is loose, good to go. Now the reason why we need to take the rest of this off on here is the bottom where these two join together, the two ends of it, they're actually fused together. You want to keep that fuse in there from the factory, whereas the older ones, they had one continuous piece, and then it kind of just butted to each other here, and there's a lot of leak points, and where this goes, this joint, is always right here. It never goes anywhere else in the glass, so guess what? It's getting that latch soaked, and you're starting all over again. So leave it together on your new one. On your old one, you can simply, at this point, want to snip it and get it out of here, but we're going to leave it fused together on the new one. At this point, we need to start taking off wiring. There's a big wire harness over here, and then there's a small one over here for the grid back here, the defrost grid. So I'll show you real quick how to take these tabs off of here. Okay, up here on the glass, there's these electrical connectors right here, one on each side, and they plug into the defrost grid on the back glass here. These come off very simple. Just push in a little bit, press down on this tang, this locking tab, and that comes right off. Now this right here may come off loose like that. Don't freak out. It's simply a cover on there that stays on there once the connector goes back onto there. So don't worry about it. Just take it off. Don't lose it for now. And we'll put it back on and go back together. So do that on both sides so we're free and clear. Okay, on the passenger side here, there's a conduit that goes up and over and gives power to the wiper motor right here. So we have to pull off this wiper motor cover and use a small pry tool like this, like the flat blade screwdriver, kind of get in here and work it around with your hands. And it just snaps onto there. And it snaps on pretty good, but it literally just snaps onto there. And this cover will come off of here, and then you have access to the top part of the conduit to take that off of there, and that also snaps onto there. Okay, now this stuff, same thing, it snaps onto there. You can actually grab it and pull it off of there if you're very careful. What I like to do is do a combination. We'll pull on a little bit, and we'll use our cat claw. We'll get behind it like this, plastic to plastic, not against the glass. And we'll put some pressure on it, and we'll yank it all the way down. Now it's going to sound really bad like that. You're like cracking, you're breaking everything. It's the thin, hard plastic nature of it. It's not breaking. Just be very careful, and it will sound like that coming off, and that's the way it will sound. No problem, no sweat. Don't freak out just yet. So let's go down to the point where you find there's another attachment point, and then pry with your tool outward. And the same thing down here. Now when you get so far down, it just kind of slides down and comes out of there. So that's something to note. And at this point, this whole chase right here that holds the wires in place is free and open. So pull it out right here and over by the wiper motor. Disconnect it. There's a gray tang right here. Push in, pull out, okay? And this simply weaves into here, so you gotta unweave it. And you'll see it on there. Just little hooks on there holding in place. And we're gonna bring that all the way down and out and just let it hang. Okay, at this point we're taking off the supports for the liftgate glass. You need to make sure you have a proper way to support it. Either use your head, you have a helper holding the glass up and supporting it, or you use something like this, like a pole jack, and some rags to support it while we're doing our work on here. Now the best way to do this is to pop the clip right here down here at the base, not the one up here. And the reason being is if you pop it down here, it's going to be constantly in your way. There's no reason to take this thing fully off of here unless you're actually changing it. So all you have to do is hold the glass, and we're going to pry out on them just enough where it releases like that, and you can see it's already falling off of there. And at this point, it's already weak enough where it can't handle it. So we're going to put our support on here, like so, and we'll just jack it up so that it's at the proper height. Okay, so just real quick, I want to show how these look up close and how to release them and how to make sure they're fully intact before snapping them back onto the ball studs. Now when you're taking them off, they'll be just like this. This clip right here will be fully recessed in here. This little slot right here is where you're going to stick your pick or your mini flat blade screwdriver. You're simply going to pry up on it, okay? And it's going to be a little tricky. A flat blade's almost better for this. Up high enough, just like so. And at this point, you see how far it is out? You should be able to just pop off that ball stud on the body or the glass at that point. Afterwards, make sure it doesn't fly off and you don't lose it. Pull it out and make sure it's fully recessed like this. At this point, it's ready to go. It just snaps back onto the ball stud, going back together. No need for prying or anything like that, going back together, so that makes it a lot easier. Just make sure it's recessed, else it will not hold and it will pop off. So right like this right here, fully recessed, both sides, is perfect. Okay, while it's all apart, what you want to do is clean all this dirt out of here before putting a new one back on there. Do not take off this sticky residue. That's going to help hold in the new one on there. And what I use is glass cleaner to clean this off because I don't want to use any kind of solvents that are going to take off that sticky residue on there. You want to keep it on there. So let's go along and clean it up so our new one sticks on there. All the way around, especially the top side. The top side is bad. Wow. Nice and clean. And this is the best part of having a pole jack. I can't complain. My arms are getting tired. My arms are getting tired. And you won't be getting a headache at this point either from having the glass on your head. I've done it before for speed, and it's not too pleasant. But it does work. Okay, it looks good enough to me. Okay, going back together, what you want to do is make sure you have the correct side facing out. That's going to mate with the glass. And the way you discern that is by looking at your new one. It's going to be pretty close on both sides, but there's a few telltales. This side, you can feel the Weatherstripping is very plush and soft, and it fully curves over like that. Okay, whereas this side, it's a lot harder. And it just doesn't look the same as far as being plush. See how this rounds over right here? This goes on the inside. Whereas this one, you could see curves all the way around on both sides. And it has that plushness to it. And it also should have holes in it on the back side here. Yeah, there's one right there. You see a hole right there? That's where it lets the air out of there once it's fully compressed on there. So the other side won't have the holes either. So that's a good way to identify which side is which. What you want to do is first and foremost is get that center joint lined up with the center of the bottom flange on here. So we'll just find that real quick. It's right here. And we'll just kind of center it in here. And that'll be our home point, and that'll help us align everything else going all the way around. So we'll just start putting it in. Just make sure it's fully pushed on there. Work it along. Especially in the corners, you're going to work it, okay? And turn the camera so you can see it. That'd be nice. You're going to work it over the corner, and you get to the corners, you're going to jam it into the corner until you feel that metal flange underneath there. And then you can start working up. Alright, we pop this back like that. Make sure it's pushed in all the way here. And this will come back down all by itself once it settles back down. It's very, very flexible plastic on here. Everything's back in with Weatherstripping. First and foremost, clip on these Liftgate struts on here, the gas struts, so we can get them supported. Here's a close-up view of it. Here's your ball stud, and we have our gas strut. We're going to make sure that this little tang right here, the clip, is fully recessed in there, which means it's fully inserted and secured properly. And then you simply come over to it, align the ball and socket, and pull over until it locks in. Now once it's locked in, you should not be able to pop it off there. So give it a good wiggle, and it should not pop off. Same thing on both sides. Now before you get too far, make sure everything's pushed in on here, and the seam is lined up right here also. Okay, all the way around. These are clipped in, we're safe. Let's get that wiring back in there. And you simply weave it back in there the same way. Okay, we're going to take it around here, and we're going to plug it in first and foremost. Okay, until it clips like that and it locks. Feed it through here, and then we're going to start weaving it through these clips in the glass on here. And that'll give you the proper spacing for the wiring on here. Goes right back in the way it came out. And then we'll clip these back in. Okay, don't forget your connection over here to your defrost grid. Simply pushes onto there until it clicks, and then your little cover slips on top of that. Like so, and it'll lock into place and trim that piece out. Go ahead and hook your harness into your plastic retainer here. I know it's hard to see. Hook it into there. Okay, let's put our trim conduit back onto here. Now the angled end like this, you see how it's angled instead of the straight end on it? The angled end goes over here. Okay, so we're simply going to put it down. We're going to put it onto there, okay? Slide it up until it hooks behind. Okay, we already did that. And at that point, everything else should line up on here, up into the curve and over. Okay. Ends will lock onto there and be fully secure. And then the last thing is this wiper motor cover. And just make sure none of the tangs are broken on here. I'll line it up a little bit. Okay. We can go ahead and start snapping that in all the way around. There we go. Alright, that's about it. It's a pretty simple process, but it's always nice to have a walkthrough showing exactly what to take off and how to take it off without damaging anything. Down below in the video description, there'll be a link to the latest and greatest Weatherstrip seal on here. It applies to the 08 through 2012 model year Escapes, and it's totally worth the investment. It's $58, whatever it is, and the 15 minutes of your time, because not only does it save the latch from corroding out, it saves the switch from corroding out, which is common on these also, and it also saves the shell of the liftgate, the body itself, from rotting out, because all the water and dirt gets down in there in the flange, and it just sits there and rots the liftgate from the inside out. It's not good. So if you check it out, see if yours needs it, and go ahead and just take care of it and be done with it already instead of incurring many, many expenses later on.